My name is Tomas Estes, for the record. I grew up in the east side of Los Angeles, in a town called Whittier. And in that town we had a settlement of Mexicans. Their settlement was called Jimtown, and it was right on the bank of the San Gabriel River. We lived in a tract house, which was exactly like all the other tract houses, and I felt pretty gray or invisible. So that Mexican identity had an attraction to me because it had something to it. It had a distinctive character, a feel, roots that were different to what I felt was my identity. So I always had a feeling for that culture. In terms of school, I was in school in Whittier. Then I went to school at Fullerton Junior College for 2 years. And then after that, I went to Long Beach State. So then after Long Beach, I went back to Whittier as a school teacher. During that period, I went to Europe for the second time, the first time having been in 1964. I went back in 1969, Woodstock year, and I visited Amsterdam for the first time, and I thought, this is a place that I could learn a lot about myself. I thought I really would love to live in Amsterdam. Now, how am I going to do that as a teacher? And then I thought, well, if you're not going to find employment, what about creating something for myself, a hole in the market? What would that be? Mexican restaurant, bar, cantina. And I thought, yeah, I can do it. The premise that I took over had been a Japanese, I think it's called teppanyaki, where they cook right on the tables. We gutted the place. I bought stoves from the flea market, the very famous Amsterdam flea market, bought household stoves, household appliances. And my Dutch friends would come in and help me clean and paint. So we basically did it as an extended family, and opened this place in 1976 in September. And very soon after having opened, it became an enormous success. And the Europeans didn't know what to think of tequila whatsoever. I remember some French people, about 7 or 8 of them, sitting there and drinking a bottle or two amongst them, not knowing what it would do, and one of them being outside on the sidewalk, completely comatose. And no taxis would get them. So then I started thinking, well, I have to call an ambulance for this poor guy. And I can't remember, I think some of his friends dragged him home. So this was a place that had a lot of heart and soul. All sorts of people would come, but quite specifically, in my appreciation, were people in the arts. So we had the former manager for the Beach Boys when they did their Holland time. Jack Riley would hang out there. Queen got a gold record there. Blondie waited 3 hours at the bar for a table. The guys from Roger McGuinn and from the Byrds. Then my former wife at that time, we were still together, but we had been married briefly for 1.5 years. She said, Tomas, we have to now make our second album. We've now had our first album of success. Let's go to London. My brother was living there at the time, so we went to London and eventually started our second Cafe Pacifico there in 1982. Then we went to Paris in 1984 and succeeded in opening a Cafe Pacifico. We had Cafe Pacifico London, or Amsterdam, London, and Paris.